Hi, I'm Alise Chaffins, and today I'm speaking with Tim Mielants, director of the film Small Things Like These, opening in theaters on November 8th. Thank you so much for joining me today, Tim.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Can you talk about how you connected with the Claire Keegan novel, Small Things Like These?
I think I've done a show called Peaky Blinders, season three with Cillian Murphy, and that went really well, that collaboration. And then he saw my first movie, Patrick, which I thought would be the end of my career, I have to say, because it's about the guy looking for his hammer in a nudist camp. And but he loved it. He loved it, and he said, like, let's make a movie together. And then we were looking for material, and I know his wife very well. She knows me very well, what my kind of themes are and my fears in life. And I remember her waving with the book in front of us, and she came up with the book, and I read it, and it was, I think what I took from it um, is grief. It's a story about grief, which
Mm.
is a theme that I try to investigate again and again and again because I experienced a similar tragedy in my life. And I think like exploring grief in detail and structuring that pain together with an actor like Cillian was for
Mm.
me a total no-brainer.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really interesting about this film is that it doesn't have like what I might call like a big movie moment in it, but we still get that rising tension throughout. Can you just talk about how you achieve that? Because I think we've kind of grown accustomed to the big like moment in movies. And yeah, this doesn't have it, but it still has that sense to it.
I think there's like twofold. Like first, you have to see like men. I always am attracted to people who can cope with their emotions. And I love looking at them, and explore them a little bit better. I think men in 1985 they were not allowed to talk about their emotions. You Even if you can't cope with it, you're not even allowed to talk. I think this is one scene where the little boy, together with the Michelle Fairley character, where the little boys, where she says to the little boy like, it's been a week now. The mother's dead. It's been a week now. Okay, now it's enough. You go to your room. Now, next day you go to school, and it's over and done. So it's kind of a character that built like a concrete wall, emotional concrete wall in front of him, and he never dealt with it. So you get a kind of delayed or post grief process that happens 30 years after the events. And I think that was like a bursting volcano who wants to erupt all the time. So I was kind of a structured grief in kind of the denial, the anger, till the acceptance in structure, together with that bursting volcano. What kind of comes out in the scene with Emily Watson, where he's looking at the fire and the sound goes to a kind of crescendo, and that was kind of how I try to approach the unconsciousness of the character and the pain of the character going to the surface.
Yeah. Um, Something else that I think this film does really well is that it captures these kind of different levels of oppression that happen, whether it's just kind of like keeping your head down or actively oppressing somebody. Can you talk about bringing that to screen, but especially in a way that didn't make any of the people feel really villainous? Because I think that also kind of works, is that there's a sense in the characters of not being doing something just for the sake of being evil. I guess there's purpose behind it.
Yeah, I think what I remember, what I said to Emily Watson is like, I think she's in the shed herself.
Mm.
There's always an understanding of every character, why every character does what she or he does. Um, and I think as far as Emily Watson's character is concerned, I always felt she wasn't really, was more like inside of Bill Furlong's head. He never dealt with what happened with his mother in the convent. He came in facing it for the first time. He enters the government, and therefore he kind of enters his own pain for the first time. He never tried to face it. So actually, I felt we got some kind of creative license to go slightly bigger than life, and I think that the real tricky thing was to find the right balance to go slightly bigger than life and keep it grounded at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you have that some with like Eileen as well. Because she has this very, again, just keep your head down kind of thing. And I think like, yeah, I just think that's kind of interesting. Um, one
Yeah,
of the,
yeah,
pardon
for
me.
Eileen, I think the great thing about Eileen and Cillian together, they know each other since they were like 6, 70 years old. I think
Mm,
when they're sitting, I was really advocating for them to play together because they know we were very able to talk about relationships, about all our problems in relationships, like oh, so we could like we felt very the three of us felt very free to dive deeper into it, and she's amazing. But I think also the fact that they know each other, put them next to each other just on a couch, let them sit on each other, and you get so much for free. You to find if that wouldn't have been the case.
yeah, for sure. Um, so I'm kind of curious, how much did you work with Enda Walsh in the adaptation of the novel, of the Keegan novel?
I think we gave the book to Enda, and then but I do immediately when I get a script. Of course, I get a little bit of notes, but I start having ideas, visual ideas, and then I went back to Enda, share all my ideas, and he kind of made adaptations. And then I went back to it, and I did another version of storyboards, another version of like how I start to see it visually, and I saw all the scenes, and I get like extra ideas or questions marks or whatever it is. And then I think the most amazing creative moment of the movie, I think, was me, Cillian, and Enda sitting down 3 full days going through every line of the script and with all my storyboards and all my ideas, sharing it. And we were like really on the same page.
Excellent. Yeah. So, as an American who just went through a difficult election season and everything, I took a lot of comfort in the smallness of the story. Can you just talk a little bit about the themes of like small kindness and small acts of bravery? Because I think that's what resonated with me anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, it felt very comforting to see a real hero who's silent and who just does it. And also be at the center of the story a man who's not without any toxic masculinity inside of it. I think that was a breath of fresh air for me as well. And I love this kind of men. For me, they are the true heroes. I think there's a theme in the movie that's about when you are silent, you are complicit. And I think there's not only what rules for the Catholic Church, but throughout history and everywhere. It's like when there's an absolute power and you're not allowed to question that power, eventually abuse will happen in massive numbers. And I think we have to be aware of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for this beautiful film, and I wish you well in its release here.
Great. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you as well. Thank you.